But the mothers get the food, or the fathers get the food?